Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to an entry which is a bit darker than some of the others, a bit slower, a bit more mysterious, which is for the 1998 film Dark City, starring Rufus Sewell, Kiefer Sutherland, and Jennifer Connelly, and it also features Richard O'Brien of Rocky Horror fame. And the synopsis for this strange dark film is as follows. A man struggles with memories of his past, which include a wife he cannot remember and a nightmarish world no one else ever seems to wake up from. So, this is one that I had originally seen in the theater, picked it up on DVD, and now I own the Blu-ray. And I would like to see how this one looks remastered in 4K one day, because first and foremost, this film is wonderfully shot. And yeah, before we even get into the story, let's just get into the overall feel of this. Let's talk about how this film looks, which is dark. But of course, that's the name, Dark City. But the entire time, this story is set at night, well after sundown, in what can be described as kind of a 1950s and film noir inspired city. You have a lot of shadows, a lot of steam and fog, flickering lights, a little rainy, a little green, and very, very calm. It almost lulls one to sleep at how slow and relaxing and sleepy the city is, which is a setting for our story and even the title, Dark City. Now, as for the story itself, as any frequent viewers of mine know, I love a good mystery, and this one really delivers on that, and I think that's why I like it so much. Though some of that mystery it maybe brings across a little bit strong, especially at the beginning, a little bit too mysterious in that they lay it out very, very thick, and there's a lot of confusion as our lead in this story wakes up in a bathtub, a little blood speck on his head, and having no memory. He's trying to piece together not just what's going on, but who he even is, because he doesn't even know what his name is. So he's gathering information from this hotel clerk, from where he had woken up, about what his name is, and also retrieving a wallet of his from a place where he had dropped it earlier, and they left a message at the hotel, and eventually meeting Kiefer Sutherland's character, who states that apparently he is his doctor, and he has some answers, eventually. Now, throughout this film, we also see these really mysterious figures, of which Richard O'Brien is one of them. They have these shaved heads, they're pale, they're wearing these black coats and hats, and literally just moving, both walking and floating from place to place, altering the landscape and the settings of various situations and other characters in the storyline, while the city itself and everyone in it is kind of completely passed out, like everything just kind of stops. Like a sudden hypnosis which knocks out everybody and just brings a whole city to a halt. A hypnosis that is actually carried out by these mysterious figures who have these strange powers which allow them to control and manipulate the world around them and the people within it. A power which our lead quickly discovers he can kind of tap into, though he doesn't know what it is, who he is, why he has this power, or really how to use it. Mystery. We got a lot of that in here. Now, we as the audience members don't just have the mystery of who our lead is and seeing him trying to piece everything together, but there's also been some murders in this story, which are being investigated by a detective who's played by William Hurt, who is also in this, and these murders are somehow connected to our lead. So he's trying to figure things out. We got these mysterious figures, we have this doctor, and the detective is looking for whoever is behind these murders. So there's a lot going on in this one, and much of the beginning is kind of confusing on purpose as we slowly let this mystery unfold. But at its heart, it is definitely sci-fi first and foremost, a sci-fi mystery as we get deeper into the story and who these strange figures are. Not to mention the city itself and what this city is. Has anybody even seen daylight before? But as for these strangers, they are really creepy. They kind of shatter and click in a way, and when one is killed, some really strange stuff kind of happens to their body, but it's very in your face as it unfolds very aspects to fill you in. So there are questions, it takes a while to get used to not having those answers, and then they'll very heavy-handedly feed them out to you along the way, though at a kind of slow pace. But every time something is explained, you kind of realize that there's a little bit more that you need. There's still some little bits that you can't quite connect. Stuff about our lead's past, these strange figures, the doctor and his role and everything, and what's going on with these murders and this detective. Needless to say, I want to leave out any spoiler information, but the main points I want to get across as far as why I enjoy this film and why I want to recommend it, rather than just blathering and rambling on, is, first off, the visual style is great. This use of darkness and shadows, this overall look with that 50s inspired noir feel, this kind of green tint over everything is really beautiful. Second, of course, my favorite part, I think, is probably the mystery. You know, something really deep with various layers, which starts with nothing but questions, but eventually starts to let everything out. And finally, something I haven't actually touched on yet is the soundtrack. So, aside from musical performances, which are led by our lead's wife, played by Jennifer Connelly, who is a singer who is looking for her husband after they had a falling out and he kind of disappeared. We also have this deep, brooding score happening in the background. While also at certain points we will get these more energetic portions as different aspects need to be emphasized and really loud, thriving parts during these more action-oriented scenes. Now, the only warnings I will give on this as to why it may not be for everyone is that it is slow. Now, while this film is only about an hour and 45 minutes, it is paced very slow and sleepy as this world and these characters inhabit, which works really well for the story and the setting and these performances bringing us through this story. And some may not really be into that, but it definitely seems to be intentional that they want you to feel kind of that same repression and that same sleepiness that this whole city is experiencing. Also, keep in mind that this Blu-ray here that I have is the director's cut, which is what I had recently watched, and it's been the only version of it that I've watched ever since first getting the DVD back in the day. So there may be some differences a little bit here and there. From what I recall, there were some differences about Jennifer Connelly's character. She may have not had as much screen time. So there may be some differences if you watch the theatrical version. But all in all, this is an often overlooked and borderline forgotten film of the 90s, which in some ways was definitely ahead of its time, and it never seemed to really find the audience that I feel it deserves. Because taking this story, the mystery they build, how they pull us through with a feel which puts us right in the shoes of these characters in the sleepy, dark, film noir feel of a city, it's definitely more than worth checking out. And speaking of checking out, thanks for checking out my latest entry here for Dark City, which at the time of this video is on Tubi, Plex, Canopy, as well as various paid rentals. Like I said, I had this one on Blu-ray for a while, and I am on the lookout to get my hands on a 4K edition of it one day. But at any rate, head on over to one of those services if any of this rambling made sense and made this sound kind of interesting to you to have something to check out this week. Anyways, that's all I've got for this one. Thanks for coming by and for sticking around to the end, as it really does help out quite a bit. Be sure to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this content, and if you're not already subscribed, be sure to hit that bell icon to get notifications for when I put up new content, which is anywhere from 1 to 3 times a week. At the time of this video, I am trying to up that and keep up with a 3 times a week for a little bit, put some more content out there, mix it up. For those who are new, I usually focus on horror with some 80s throwbacks to films that either I don't really hear much about these days, or I just haven't seen in so long I'm wondering if it aged well. Occasionally I will throw in some other ones from the 90s, or the occasional newer film, which I feel needs some additional attention. And as for those horror ones, there will be some new releases that maybe just dropped on streaming or in the theater, or even going all the way far back into the 50s, but that's the overall feel of things. I always try to do it with no spoilers, giving just enough information to basically say it's not as much a review so much as a recommendation as to why I like something. I'd rather focus on that than ranting about one that I didn't enjoy, much less spend any time editing a video for a film that I didn't enjoy in the first place. I'd leave that for somebody else. Anyways, that's all I have for this one. Again, thanks for coming by, and I will see you in the next one.